heard us introduce quite a few new features for Flower. And now is the time for Chong Shen to explain how to use them in production and demo everything. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Charles. Morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Chong Shen. I'm a research engineer here at Flower Labs. Before I actually start, I actually want to give a shout out to all the previous speakers. They have done excellent work, trying to bridge work in research and trying to push it to production. So yeah, shout out and round of applause to them. All right. So I'm here to tell you a bit about what we have built so far within the Flower platform, and what we can do to help you deploy all of your federated AI solutions into production. So let's do a quick recap. What can you actually do now with Flower? So yesterday you've heard a lot of fantastic updates from us. You know that you can build a lot of your Flower apps right now with the new message APIs that were just released as well, just on Monday. You can also investigate and do a lot of iterations around your apps to figure out what's the best configurations and strategies and all the exotic algorithms that you need to solve the specific problem that you have in a very well-contained simulation environment. And what you need now really is to be able to have the most frictionless experience to deploy all of your Flower apps into production, right? To actually run it in all of the centers that you need to run. So I'm here to tell you today that Flower is production ready. We have the tools that you need to get all of your applications into production. The most crucial step as a company for us is to get the ISO 27001 certification. Right. This means that you can be assured that all the tools and our internal processes, all the software that we built for you is built to the highest security standards. Next is the Flower CLI. So yesterday you've heard that we talked about the Flower CLIs and how you can use that to interact with our applications in terms of running them. So here I've listed the 5 core Flower CLI tools that you will be familiar with. Right. We start with Flower New. For Flower New, you can very quickly build your templates for all of your Flower apps. That means you can strip away all the boilerplate code that you need to get started, and from just running the FLWR new command, you can just iterate on your PyTorch, TensorFlow, JAX, or NumPy templates, and etc. In addition to all of these, you have the Flower Run, Log, List, and Stop commands. All of these are the crucial commands that you need to actually execute your Flower apps, right? But what this also means is that you can very seamlessly use the same workflows that you are familiar with in your research, also into production, right? So there's no change in the user experience itself. So that means you can very quickly iterate between your simulation environment and also your deployment environment. So it will be very, very familiar and nothing will have to change. Now we're talking about Flower is ready for scale. So what do I mean by that? Right, some of you will be familiar with this, but we have official Docker images. All of these images are available on Docker Hub. You can access them on this link over here, hub.docker.com/u/FLWR. And all these images have a Docker Scout health score of A. What this means is that when you build any of your containers on top of our Docker images, you can be assured that all the security measures are in place and there are no high-profile vulnerabilities in your images. With these images, you also have the option of choosing what kind of images you want to build on top of. So there's a lot of flexibility and optimizations built into it. Firstly, we have 2 base images for you to build on. We have the Ubuntu image and the Alpine image. Ubuntu has all the libraries and dependencies installed for you, so you don't have to worry too much about managing what kind of additional dependencies you need to install your app. And Alpine images, for those who are familiar, are super slim and very minimalistic. In addition to this, we have 3 Python versions at the moment. Right? And of course, depending on your use case and the package that you need, you might choose specific Python versions as well to build your container images. Finally, you have 2 operating system or architectures that you can choose to build your container images from, either the AMD 64 or the ARM64 images. All of these gives you many options to pick and choose, depending on your use case and your workflows, to build all of your Flower apps. Now let's talk a bit about deploying your Flower apps. What does a minimal deployment look like? You can deploy Flower at its very core in 3 steps. The first, right at the top, is the Flower CLI. So this is the interface or the entry point of when a user starts or executes the Flower command in their workflow. The next component is the superlink. The superlink you can think of as the server. Okay, the superlink will actually start a server app which does the aggregation of your model parameters. And the third step is the supernodes. These supernodes are the ones that trigger your client apps, and the client apps are the ones that you actually run the training itself on the edge. Okay, so the 3 steps are: you do pip install FLWR for your Flower CLI, you then do a Docker run Flower superlink, and then you do Docker run Flower supernode. All of this is the minimal setup that you need to get Flower into production. Now, what if you want to have a more robust, bulletproof deployment, right? You want to have fully isolated dependencies. You want to ensure that there are that nothing affects the execution of superlink. So what can you do is you can run it in what we call the process mode. In the process mode, you can see that these text boxes here now becomes 6 boxes. Each of these components now have their own images as well and containers as well. And what this means is that all the dependencies of the server app and client apps are completely isolated from the superlink and supernodes. So the superlink and supernodes are now your infrastructure, and you can spin as many server apps and client apps to connect to these infrastructure components. Now, what's the extra steps that you need here? There are 5 steps. Firstly, we do a tweak to how we start the superlink and supernode containers. We have this ---- isolation process command. We then trigger the server app. We'll just start them up. That runs and connects to the superlink. And finally, you start as many client apps as you want that connects to the supernodes. Now, all of this is what you need to get the production-ready deployment in place. So building on top of the Docker containers, we now have ways for you to also coordinate and manage and orchestrate your containers. You have the Docker Compose guide. It's available online on documentation. You can check it out. We also have the capabilities to deploy in Kubernetes and Helm charts. So if you want to talk more about these, feel free to come and ask me or speak to any of the Flower team. You can see later on. You need authentication. Yes, we do have node authentication. It exists right now in the Flower platform. And for node authentication, how this works is that each of the supernode is authenticated against the superlink with a signature-based authentication protocols, and is communicated over TLS connections. So this way you can guarantee that the correct supernode is communicating with the superlink. User authentication? Yes. So we now have user authentication as well. And what this means is we have a new CLI command. In addition to the 5 I've shown earlier, you now have FLWR space login. For a given user, you'll be given appropriate credentials. You can log in securely to the superlink over OpenID Connect protocol, and then you can execute your command with the superlink. So for superlink administrators, this means you can actually have proper control over who executes the Flower workloads on the superlink. Finally, we have traceability with Flower event logging. So there's quite a bit going on here. What this is about is that in a superlink, we have enabled a feature such that you can track all of the user events and application events that happens on a superlink. An example of this is that we are displaying the events in a JSON format, and all of this can be captured downstream in your log capturing tool. So it contains several components. You have the timestamp of when the event occurred. You have the actor that triggered the event description itself, and finally the status of the event, whether it's successful or failure. So all of these gives you full transparency and auditability of your Flower, of your FL workflows. All right, to wrap it up, if you're ready for production, so is Flower.